Before we get started, there's some software we need to set up first. Running Spark on Windows involves a lot of moving pieces, so be sure to follow along carefully in this video and follow all the steps exactly as shown, or else you'll have some trouble. But I'll try to walk you through it as easily as I can. Now this video is made for Windows users. That doesn't mean you're out of luck if you're on Mac or Linux though. If you head on over to this page, go ahead and punch that into your web browser, and you should see the setup page for this course. That will contain written instructions on getting everything set up on Windows or on Mac OS or on Linux. Again, you can watch through the video here for Windows users, and I will call out things that are specific to Windows, so I think you'll find it useful for other platforms as well. But either just refer to that page, or just watch the video on Windows, and let's dive in and get it done. Alright, so again, to get set up here, just head on over to sundog-education.com/spark-python, and just go through these steps. It's pretty simple. I'll walk you through this for Windows because it's a little bit more involved on Windows, but if you're on Mac or Linux, just scroll down and there are steps to follow there as well. Using Homebrew on Mac OS, and on Linux it's usually pretty straightforward, just using pip and whatnot. But for Windows, let's walk through it. And even this has gotten easier than it used to be. It used to be you had to do all this crazy stuff to trick Windows into thinking Hadoop exists when it doesn't, and to make sure Java was installed at just the right place. All that nonsense is gone these days, so that's good. Let's just walk through this then. So the first thing we need to do is install a Java development kit on your Windows machine if you don't have one already. And why do you need Java? Well, even though we're using Python here, Apache Spark itself is written using Scala, which in turn sits on top of Java. So at the very bottom of the layer cake there, we need an installation for Java to work with. Now, take care here. As of this recording, Spark is only compatible with Java version 8, 11, or 17, and only later versions of Java 8 for that matter. Right now, Java 17 is going to be your safest bet moving forward. But do not install Java 21 or newer. It will not work with the current release of Spark. Right now, that's 3.5.2. So you can follow this link. Let's open that in a new tab. And you can see here that JDK 17 is there for the taking. If it's not there, you might have to go digging into their archive folders and whatnot. So I've selected JDK 17, and since I'm on Windows, I want the Windows link here. And to make life simpler, I'm going to use the MSI installer, which kind of does the right thing automatically. That way it takes care of all the paths and stuff on Windows, so I don't have to worry about it. That has downloaded, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And we'll just accept the defaults here. There's nothing fancy you need to do. Approve any permissions that it wants. Come on. And we're done. Cool. Close that out. Java is installed. Very cool. Next step is to get Spark itself, and here's a link there for that, spark.apache.org/downloads.html. As of this recording, 3.5.1, I thought it was 2 already, but well, whatever the latest release is, as long as it's Spark 3, you should be okay. We're going to keep that default for pre-built for Hadoop 3.3 and later, and go ahead and click the Download Spark link. That will redirect me to a mirror. Fine. I'm okay with that. And this is, you might note, a TGZ file. That is not a common compression format on Windows, so you might need to go and install a tool to decompress that file first. All right, that is done, so I'm going to go ahead and click that Show in Folder so I don't lose it in my Downloads folder. But just a quick note, if you do need a utility for TGZ, one such utility is WinRAR. And there's a handy dandy link here at rarlab.com. If you do need to install that, go ahead and take care of that now. You probably want the 64-bit version. 7-zip will also work. You just need to take a couple of different steps for that. But assuming I have WinRAR or 7-zip installed already, so now I can just right-click on that TGZ file that I downloaded for Spark. And since I'm using 7-zip, I'm going to say extract that to that directory. With WinRAR, it's a similar procedure. Except WinRAR will probably do it all in one shot. With 7-zip, I have to go find that folder that it just created. And that would have decompressed the gzip file, but there's still a tar file in there that I need to decompress further. Fortunately, 7-zip can do that too. And there we have the actual Spark distribution if I click in there. Now let's put this somewhere where I can get to it a little bit more easily. You know, downloads, Spark 351 bin Hadoop 3, and it's kind of hard to get to from a command line. So I'm just going to go ahead and Control A to copy all of that, Control C. And now I'm going to go to my C drive, or whatever drive you want, and create a new folder called Spark. And within that Spark folder, I'm going to paste in the contents of the Spark package. All right, that's there and ready to go. Back to our list of instructions here. So we need to configure this to not be so spammy with error messages. So by default, Spark is configured to tell you about every little informational message when it runs, and this can make it hard to find the actual output of your scripts when you're running this thing. So let's take care of that. Back to my Spark folder here. If we go into conf, you should see a log4j2.properties.template file. First of all, let's rename that to take the .template off so that this actually has an impact. Yes, I'm sure I want to change it. And now if we edit that in your favorite text editor, whatever that might be, for me I have Notepad++, go look for rootlogger.level and change that from info to error. And that will just make it a little bit more terse in its output. Save that and close, and we're done with that step. All right, what's next? So now we need to set some environment variables so everything knows where to find each other. Now on different versions of Windows, this will be done in a different way. For me, I'm going to go to the search bar down here that you can't see and just type in Windows 11 environment variables. You should see edit the system environment variables come up. It's within the system control panel if you need to get to it the hard way. From here, from system properties, we can click on environment variables and just do what it says here. So first thing we need to do is add a new user variable, and we're going to call that Spark_home, and set that to the path where I put the Spark package. For me, that was C:\Spark. Another step is we need to make sure that the correct Python command is used. Now, because I'm going to be using Anaconda as my Python environment, the Python command is just Python. It's not Python 3. So you can use whatever Python environment you want, really, but if you're using Anaconda, you need to make sure that Spark knows how to call Python. So in the case of Anaconda, you're also going to set an environment variable called PySpark_Python. And we're going to set that to Python. Again, this is just the command name of the Python interpreter itself. If you're using an existing Python package and you use Python 3 instead, you should set that to Python 3, okay? But for me, it's Python. And then we need to edit our path user variable and just add in, doesn't matter where, $Spark_home, $bin. That just makes sure that I can call PySpark from any place. Okay, and okay, and we're just about done. Now, because this is we're going to be using PySpark, Python, to actually talk to things, we need to install Python 3 from someplace. Since I do a lot of stuff with data science and machine learning, I use Anaconda for my Python environment. And if you're already in the middle of one of my courses, or maybe you took another one already earlier, odds are you already have this installed. But if not, just head on over to anaconda.com. There should be a link for there. Yep, anaconda.com. And from here, just download the latest. So free download. They want you to sign up to their mailing list. You don't have to. There's a skip registration button here. At least there is right now. That might change. And just go ahead and download the Python 3.11 Anaconda installer. Nothing special about that, so I'm not going to actually go through it since I already have it installed. But go ahead and walk through that installer if you need to. All right, we're just about done here. So we've got Spark installed. We've got Java installed. We've got a Python environment with Anaconda installed. Let's see if it works. So first we need to go to our Start menu. And from there should be an Anaconda 3 subdirectory there. From there, I want you to go to the Anaconda prompt. And this is going to give me an environment that's set up to use Python out of the box. So that's very useful. Let's cd to C:\Spark and see what's in here. So there's a handy little text file here called readme.md. So as a test, let's just write a quick little Spark program in the command line interpreter here that counts how many lines of text are in that file. Now, if everything's set up properly, I should be able to just type in PySpark. And because I set up that path system variable, it should know where to find that. If not, make sure that you actually close and reopen this Anaconda prompt to pick up those environment variable changes if necessary. That might take a few seconds to spin up for the first time. And we should get a little prompt there. Okay, cool. So far, so good. So we have those little 3 carets there at the bottom indicating that we are good to go and start entering commands. So let's try it out. Let's type in rdd equals sc.text file with a capital F, pay attention to caps, parenthesis, quote, readme, again, pay attention to caps, .md, and quote, and parenthesis. And all this is doing is creating what we call a resilient distributed database. We'll talk about what that is momentarily from the Spark context, loading it up from a text file named readme.md. Now, this hasn't actually done anything yet. I need to tell it to actually do something to that information before it actually runs anything. Let's just ask it to print out the count of how many lines are in that file. And that's pretty straightforward. We just say rdd.count, thusly, with empty parentheses. And off it goes. And the answer apparently is 125 lines. So if you see that number, or a similar number, I imagine the number of lines in that file might change over time, you have everything set up. Congratulations. So you have installed PySpark successfully on Windows. To get out of here, just type in quit with parentheses, and you should be back to the command prompt. We can actually move on and do something a little bit more interesting now, so stay tuned.